I've got the Spider-Man shirt because today we were doing the spoilers discussion for Spider-Man No Way Home, and hopefully I titled everything right in the live stream thumbnail and title. But I guess why don't we start out by giving our initial thoughts because we had a very short review. We were reviewing it like 2 in the morning. So do you want to give your overall thoughts of the movie first before we get into spoilers?
Yeah, like I said in my non-spoiler review, which is really short in the moment that night, I definitely enjoyed the movie. It was a really good addition to the MCU. Probably the best addition to the MCU since Endgame. Even though I did like Shang-Chi, I like that. I like that a little bit.
Yeah.
But this was definitely my favorite of the three Spider-Man movies in the new MCU trilogy, out of Far From Home, Homecoming, and then now No Way Home. So I think it was a really great movie, and I think I gave it an 8.5. I guess I'll say it now. I think I would probably bump it up to a 9. The more I think about it, even I still think it's probably right around there between an 8.5 to a 9. But I'll go ahead and adjust it to a 9 because there's a lot to like about it. They did a lot of great stuff. Because this is a spoiler review,
Yeah.
I'll say that for a little bit. But there's some great additions to this movie and the storyline route that they take. And the action was pretty good, and I always love the connections to other movies, which you get in a multitude of ways. So this is definitely a really good MCU movie.
Yeah, just a final warning that this is the spoilers discussion. So if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, there's going to be spoilers. We're going to be talking about all the spoilers in this video. I want to address some people in the comments. I like Squids in the chat. How you doing? Smilezilla, New Year, new live stream. Yeah, this is the first live stream of 2022. It's kind of crazy. We will be doing our top 5 movies of the year and then top 5 anticipated for 2022. But basically, yeah, my overall thoughts of this movie, I give it a 9. I'm really tempted to push it up even more because we were coming off of Eternals, which was kind of a low, disappointed, and it just didn't really have me that excited. But this movie just does so many amazing things. I love the action. You get so many characters. There's so many funny moments, and there are some amazing scenes. That Spider-Man is not my favorite superhero, but obviously Hulk's my favorite superhero. But there are just some amazing things. And why don't we just get into the biggest spoilers about the Spider-Mans in this movie? There are multiple Spider-Mans.
Yeah, they brought back, which it's kind of crazy because I didn't really know about this. I stayed away from spoilers for the most part. I knew Doctor Strange was in it from the trailer, but the fact that they brought back Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I said Superman, and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was just insane. Now, I will admit, I've not seen one of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans. Now, after seeing this, I actually want to go back and watch him, to be honest. Not only for the villains, but for him as well. He really did a great job, and I liked him a lot. But Tobey was just one that we grew up with, and he still is my favorite Spider-Man. Tom Holland's fine, but I just think I liked Tobey's portrayal better, and just his acting and his comedy, and just all that works better. And it was awesome to see him back on the screen. And I would have just been happy just to see him for a second, and just a quick little like portal scene, seeing him there. But the fact that you get action out of him and a lot of screen time, a lot of lines, and the use of his character as well, and the villains from those movies was just done phenomenally. And it was probably the biggest takeaway from this movie was probably the connections to the old Spider-Mans and the multiverse.
Yeah, I love the connections to the old one. The reveals for the new Spider-Mans are just perfect. I mean, the way they lead up to it, you first obviously see the Tom Holland Spider-Man throughout this movie, and then you see the Garfield one next, and it's just hilarious scenes with him like in that room and proving that he's Spider-Man. And I really was not a big fan of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man before this movie, but now I am. Did a great job.
I never saw him.
Yeah, I had seen those movies. I think I was just mainly mad because they took away from Tobey. But
Yeah,
Tobey's in this movie, and he is just great. I mean, every scene with him is just unbelievable. He's my favorite Spider-Man. The fact that he's back in this movie, I mean, and the scene where they just totally understand what people liked about the movies and what people wanted to see. Because right before they go into battle, I mean, we're just going to kind of jump around here. But the scene where he's talking about his back, I mean, it's just the line delivery on that was just so perfect. And they just knew what they were doing. All the interactions between these Spider-Mans is just gold.
Yeah, and
I mean,
the use of the villains, not only the villains, once again, the Sandman guy, the Electro, and the Lizard guy, those 3 were from the Andrew Garfield movies, so I can't speak on them. They're still cool, and it makes you want to go back to see them in their own movies. but I can definitely speak on Green Goblin and Doc. Is it Doc Ock or just
Yeah.
Doctor Ock? Both those guys, in the way that they literally looked like they were taken straight from those movies, and to me they were made so long ago, and they look like they were just straight from the movies, which is amazing. And Doc Ock walks in there and thinks it's Spider-Man, and the use of his like the new suit taking over his arms was a good use, and it's also fleshing those characters out, because while there were some negatives I have of this movie, one that I think is switched on me the more I think about it was the fact that they go the route of trying to like save all these characters, but all these villains, when you think about it, regardless if they killed anyone in the last one, which I'm sure they did, they all are conflicted villains to where they were good people, and it was just kind of things that got them into the situations that happened. And there was a great line. There's a lot of great comedy lines, but the one where it's like, what happened to like the Electro guy, and he's like, he fell into a pit of, or he was saying he was such a great guy, and he's like, well, he fell into a full pool of electric eels, and Toby's like, well, I think that'll do it. But just it's like,
well, yeah, that is something that I guess we'll address, is that I understand, like Doc Ock had the thing mind control him. Green Goblin, I mean, accidentally had the gas get him, and then that's true.
They were all conflicted. So
the thing is, though, okay, so I guess the electric guy fell into eels and wasn't his fault, I guess. But there's a certain point in this movie where I understood it, and obviously seeing Doc Ock on the good side is amazing. I wanted to see that.
Yeah.
Because I like his character. But it did get to the point where it's like, okay, we need a villain here, though. I mean, it's getting a little too far here. Like,
essentially the villain.
Yeah, and I was thinking, okay, yeah, we can try to save him, but this is getting to the point where I want to see the Spider-Mans fight a villain. I don't want to, and that's also what we were talking about, is I want to see them fight, but we kind of talked about how Spider-Man doesn't go out killing villains. I mean, even the bad villains he's fighting, that he doesn't know why they're bad, he's never trying to kill them.
Exactly, so that's why it makes sense to his character to try to save him.
So that's why it didn't bother me as much, because I was thinking, either way, Spider-Man's not trying to kill him, he's trying to just capture him anyway, because he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, so that's excuses that, and that would have been a much bigger flaw, but that's why it excuses it.
And there was some great things that they did with it, like the spider sense thing, which again, I'm not that big into the comics, but I know they didn't really use that at all in Homecomings. I was actually just rewatching it was actually Collider Heroes breakdown of Spider-Man Homecoming with John Schnepp and what's the one guy's name? Dan
Merle?
No, it's not Dan Merle. It's the guy who was arguing with John Schnepp over, like, he's groveling. He's 16 years old. He was like, I think I was on John Campia's show all the time. Just those two were going at it about that. But like, he brought up how like the spider sense thing was not really used, and in this one it was definitely used, where everything just gets quiet and he knows something's wrong. And the one scene had me guessing, like, what was going on? Was there another villain that we forgot about? Or because like it seemed like they were all working together to like basically be cured, because he had just saved Doc Ock, and all of a sudden he realizes Green Goblin's character was insane, because you see him break his helmet and seem like he's actually confused, but his character's always been a conflicted character, and the fact that they made him, I think and this is one thing I'll say right now before Kenny comments on it, they really powered up Green Goblin. Now,
no doubt.
He did beat up Tobey's character in the original Spider-Man movie, but he was that was in the suit. I thought in the suit he was more powerful because he had all the devices and stuff.
Armor.
But he was taking punches like it was nothing from Spider-Man. He's superhuman, and he's smiling.
Like the Superman punches.
And he is like a Harley Quinn, insane. Maybe he's insane. That makes him even stronger too. Something kind of like Joker as well. But no, they definitely powered up Green Goblin because he was throwing around. He was doing damage.
Yeah, that's the thing. In the original Spider-Man, here, I'm going to get some comments before I make these comments. I like Squid said I already saw it, so that's good. And then Smilezilla said I went to see No Way Home Sunday the 19th. So glad to see you guys already saw it, so we won't spoil it for anyone. But yeah, Green Goblin, I remember in the first one, see, that's the thing. The first Spider-Man, Tobey is just perfect. The villain, Green Goblin, and that, I thought was fine. The second one, Doc Ock, perfect villain. I thought Tobey just really makes those movies. And then the second one, he's perfect. But Green Goblin in this was really powerful, and I was really confused. When he smashes the helmet, I'm thinking, well, that's kind of annoying, because I'd like to see him in the helmet. That's like his thing. So I figured he wasn't going to be fighting anymore since he smashed his helmet. But then it kind of had me thinking, and then you see him getting punched, and he's just smiling, barely even moving, and he does really kick the crap out of Toby. The only really times they fight in person, so I guess it makes sense. I mean, he beats the living crap out of him, punching, blood's coming out of his friggin' mouth, and so it's that is accurate and continues, but they really make him the leader of these villains and really take him in the
And you would
forefront.
think Electro would be the leader, because Electro seems to be the most powerful, especially in the CGI
Yeah.
form when he's just like an electron. Like at first I thought he looked like Silver Surfer, because that scene when he goes into the woods and you see him, and then you see.
It's really like, how can you fight this?
I didn't realize what's his name played him. The guy who plays the guy from Law Abiding Citizen.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was that guy, and then the
He looks
Sandman
so
guy is
weird.
confused, and all this. That's the addition of those two. The lizard guy, I'm not sure what his name is
It's just
exactly.
lizard. I think.
This lizard, like Doctor Strange story, they thought he sensed a big one, and he found it in the sewer and like got
Yeah.
it easily. And there was some, like I said, the comedy worked great. The scenes of them all in the little like portal chambers, and they couldn't really get out, with some great lines back
Oh,
and
yeah.
forth, and just all that just like figuring out what was going on was just done great. And at times I'm like, how are they going to explain this? But they did a great job explaining how. There was a great scene in particular where they're all talking to each other, and they're remembering what the last thing they remembered was.
Yeah.
And the last thing that they all remember was before they died.
No,
And
it was
that was great. It's like the ones that we know. Doc Ock is like, I was in there trying to like change the power converter or whatever, and then all of a sudden he's like, and then all of a sudden I was, and then. And then the electric guy was like, "I know, I was just about to hit a whole power surge, and all of a sudden, oh wait, that's right." So just like remember they all die was a great job.
I've got to say though, that first scene where Spider-Man's going through, there's a lot of scenes where kind of Spider-Man figuring things out and kind of like dealing with the fact that Mysterio, because that's where it picks up. Mysterio reveals Spider-Man's identity. Everyone's like hating him or loving him, and then obviously the court things go through, and a lot of that stuff goes on. But then the real big scene I can remember, I've only seen this once, is when Doc Ock comes out and fights Spider-Man. That is a excellent scene. I mean, it's really funny
Yeah.
because he has his arms, and then the Spider-Man suit has the 4 arms, and that's a really funny scene. And that's a great action scene there. That leads to a really cool scene where he's able to switch the armor, he's able to rip his helmet off, and then get the, obviously, like you said, taking over the suit.
Yeah.
Smilezilla did say the actor of Green Goblin, William Dafoe, should really play the Joker in the future. I mean, he basically, I could totally see that.
He plays that insane role very, very well.
Yeah, he has that persona. I think he's really
good
owned.
actor.
He's owned the Goblin character.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be kind of hard for him to do that, but I guess he could do that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been so many Jokers. He's also good in John Wick.
Yeah.
But
Um.
yeah, so all the villains in the movie, basically, we got Green Goblin, Doc Ock, we got Electro. I don't know if that's the right name.
Yeah, Sandman.
Lizard,
and
Sandman, and that's kind of the thing I saw in Angry Joe's review. Sandman that's something really confusing. So basically, when Spider-Man's fighting with Electro,
He's fighting with Sandman.
and then Sandman protects him, which I was kind of confused about, but then he turns against him. That whole storyline was a little confusing to me. Did you understand that? Or?
Well, that's the thing is I've never seen the. I'm pretty. Is Sandman actually from the Spider-Man 3? Maybe
yeah,
not
he's from Spider-Man 3.
So he's
from
actually
Tobey's.
not from. Okay, well,
Yeah.
see, I actually need to watch Spider-Man 3 because like I said, before we got in these movie reviews, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen yet. I mean, the Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Tobey I've seen 100 times each. But that makes you want to go back and watch them. So it did a great job of that.
Spider-Man
yeah,
3 is Venom.
So I guess that
Sandman.
makes sense as to why he would work with him. Because I think they did kind of work together. I'm not sure how he died in the first one.
He's bad at
The
the
third
end of the
one, but-
movie, but he's I still need to watch
Yeah, I gotta
it
figure
back.
that out.
But that was
Um,
confusing. Why he was protecting him?
Well, I think he was
and then
confused.
why he
Well,
turned
he
back.
did say like, "I'll explain it if you help me fight this Electro guy." He's like, "Fine, I'll do that." Wait, was Electro not from the Garfield ones then?
No, Lecture's from Garfield.
Okay,
he
so
just
that's why I
looks
would
really
fight him.
weird at the
Yeah.
end. Like he in the
Well,
Garfield one.
he's human form.
Yeah, but he's like blue, and it's a really big complaint. He doesn't look human. Like he's like CGI basically.
Or Electro, right? No,
Yeah, so
Electro, right.
They fixed his look in this one, and that's something that I saw a lot of comments.
But it was
from.
cool that they showed him in his original form to start.
Yeah,
That was nice that they didn't just completely reboot it.
rebooted.
As far as like the complaints go, just before we get back
Yeah,
to some more
let's get into
positives, one complaint that I had was just the. I think my biggest complaint was the kind of the nerfing of Doctor Strange here.
Yeah.
At first they did not nerf him at all. He was the boss that he always is and always has been. ever since he's became Doctor Strange. But there's a part once Spider-Man. I know it's a Spider-Man movie. He takes the like button that could have like killed all those guys and put them back to where the original universe was, and he follows him into the fact that he got away. I'm like fine. Like Doctor Strange hit him out of his astral.
He's just
he hit him out of like the astral form. But then it's kind of funny because that makes sense. He has spider reactions and he couldn't like take the thing from him.
Yeah.
But then once he goes into the mirror dimension, and he's able to outsmart him in there, that's what I'm like. I'm sorry, you can't.
Yeah.
You cannot outsmart Doctor Strange in that mirror dimension. Not that fast. Like I get Spider-Man's a smart kid and then he's good at math, but come on, that seems like a very out there thing. And the fact that a guy as strong as Doctor Strange does that, gets stuck, and he's literally dangling over the Grand Canyon for 12 hours is, I mean, he says that, but it's just absolutely ridiculous. And then building up of that, I did not appreciate. I don't mind the Ned character, but the fact that he was able to figure out how to use the
sling ring.
the sling ring and make a portal was like, I mean, you got to be kidding me.
That's a stretch.
Doctor Strange had to he tried for how many days and weeks to learn how to do that. They showed a whole segment where he's trying to do that and nothing shows up, and he has to be thrown in the middle of of Mount Everest to get him to learn, and Ned just does it randomly. It really takes away from the power. So it's like anyone can do that as long as they have a sling ring. They can just make a portal anywhere. That they did. I mean, obviously they had him not know how to close it a couple times, but to me that's a little out there, and I think it was too much. They did not need to do that. They need to figure out maybe like have Wong come in there or someone that knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But they did, I guess, explain as to why Doctor Strange maybe wasn't as powerful as he had been because of Wong taking over the Sorcerer Supreme role. But again, before I get into more positives on that, that was probably my biggest negative. Was I love the parts with Doctor Strange and Wong and just the connections to the universe, but they definitely didn't honor his character as well as I hoped they would have.
Yeah, you can argue the Sorcerer Supreme thing. I've heard that. I've heard he's using the Iron Man technology, and there's a couple different things. But that is the funny thing is like when Spider-Man's trying to take it, it's basically like Doctor Strange is he's just effing with him. Like, I am so much more powerful than you. Hits his astral form out. It's funny how he's trying to grab the thing, but I guess, is that because the suit is quick? Because his suit is still moving?
No matter what it is, Doctor Strange should be able to figure that out.
I mean, but that was funny. But it is really cool seeing how he's just basically messing with him. It's kind of the Ancient One thing when Doctor Strange comes out. It's even Thor. Doctor Strange was even effing with friggin' Thor. Like how much, how crazy powerful he is. He's like sending Thor to different rooms, and he's just totally lost.
Yeah,
and
he was able to fight Thanos better than he was able to fight Spider-Man.
I know there is just no way in freaking crap that he takes down Doctor Strange. Now, obviously for the movie, it had to happen, so that's why I was basically like, okay, we can let it pass because the movie would have ended.
With using characters as powerful as him.
If it would have been Wong, it might have been a little more acceptable. But the thing is, it's because it's so cool. But then when Spider-Man's in that other world, I mean, Doctor Strange would just and then also to address the Ned thing because Ned is obviously a great character. I have no problems with it. He's really funny and likable. But yeah, he should not have been able to use that sling ring that easily. It really does take away from all the characters that are able to use it. Doctor Strange that learns how to use it, Ancient One that teaches him. There's just a whole chain of teaching and learning and years of this that is really kind of pushed off to the side when friggin' Ned, Spider-Man's friend, is able to just use it instantly. That really did bother me.
It was a good chase sequence, but you know what? In order to not downplay that, have that happen, but then have Doctor Strange take it back in the mirror dimension, and then maybe have it to be like later on that day, Spider-Man goes in and steals it because he's a kid and he does some spider technique to steal the button away. But don't have him take it and beat him in an actual one-on-one fight because the fact that Spider-Man beats Doctor Strange one-on-one is a little too out there for me. Yeah. But going off of Doctor Strange, because he did a great job in this movie, there's a great line between him and Wong about basically this spell you're able to forget things, and he asked him about, do you remember the rooftop party we had so-and-so? And he's like, no. He's like, exactly. Because I guess he used that spell on him already. But that was a great line. There's also a great line with the Happy character. His comedy does perfect all the time. Not just this movie, but in almost every movie he's in. But the line where they're watching the news and basically everyone's freaking out because everyone knows who Spider-Man is. They show an aerial shot right of where they're at, and there's 5 helicopters, and Happy's like, wait, is that here? And it's like, how do you not hear the helicopters outside the room? I mean,
You hear a helicopter like 1,000 feet in the air. You don't hear 4 of them right outside your freaking out.
That's the way he said it, is that here, and then it just shoots out. It's like the most ridiculous thing.
That was really funny. That's the thing. The comedy in this movie. This has got to be the funniest.
Yeah, out of the 3.
The funniest movie.
Yeah.
But there are a ton of sad moments.
Yeah. Do you want to get into that spoiler?
We might as well get into that. I mean, so basically, the big death of the movie is
the only death, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you found out Mysterio does begin. No, you found out the last one. No, so basically MJ, not MJ. What's her freaking name? I don't even know. It's
MJ.
No, it's not MJ. It's
it's
Aunt.
Oh, Aunt May. I think
Aunt May,
her name isn't MJ.
Yeah, she hasn't died though. But Aunt May dies in this movie, and she was really good in this movie. I thought she's been good in all the movies. They've obviously Aunt May used to be old. They made her really young in this new trilogy, but I mean that was really sad.
Because
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, people were saying that it's like I didn't feel bad and it wasn't sad. I thought it was really sad and effective.
Yeah.
I mean,
because Spider-Man's already lost. I mean, he literally lost his father figure in. Well, he's already lost Uncle Ben, who was his father figure. Then he loses his next father figure in Tony Stark, and now he loses Aunt May, and basically he lost Happy because he doesn't remember who he is. So it's like
the end of this movie makes this not as sad though. Well, because it would have been worse.
But it's also though. I think it's also a coming of age story. I feel like Spider-Man, to me, Tobey's character was always so powerful because he's like a man growing into a man, and Tom Holland's character's always just been, it's like he's a kid, and this movie's definitely one that can propel him into he's still not going to be an adult, but more of a mature Spider-Man character, which is what I hope he would be, not just a constant comedy device. And killing off Aunt May like this, as sad as it was, puts him in a position now where he will be on his own. And he does have Happy, and he will have the Avengers once he goes back to them. But I just think it was a great job to maybe have him have a coming of age moment.
Yeah.
But Green Goblin's the one that basically killed Aunt May. He had the surfer device, his like thing. Well, first was a bomb, and then his like flying surfboard thing went right into her. I thought that killed her. It like bumps into her, and then he throws a bomb.
That's true. I don't know how they didn't kill her.
That should have killed her by itself.
Maybe it sliced her.
I think that's what got her.
That got it.
Whatever it was. I was like, are they really going to kill her off? And they did. But you are right. You hinted at why it was probably better that they did, because later in the movie, they once again do the Gamora Guardians storyline where basically everyone forgets who Spider-Man is now. And not just Spider-Man, like everyone forgets who he is.
All the Avengers, no, this is the most frustrating thing. The Gamora thing bothered the living crap out of me.
That can still be corrected.
It can be, but like the way that she died, her clone comes back, doesn't know who Star-Lord is or anything that happened. And they really haven't explored that yet. They'll explore that more in the Guardians. But the thing that everyone forgets about Spider-Man is just so insanely frustrating that I cannot even explain it. Like, for a connected universe where you see characters, it's like a TV show, and you follow all these characters, they go through all these things, and then you just make them forget. I mean, that is so frustrating and so annoying, and I know it's a movie, and it's the end of the trilogy, but this is a freaking connected universe.
Yeah,
I mean, there's going to be more movies, so now Doctor Strange, Wong, Happy, all these people, MJ, Ned, all forget about him, and I just don't understand how you continue this stuff. I mean, I don't want to see him go through and meet all these friends again. That's just annoying as crap. And then, like you were saying with Aunt May, if Aunt May would have survived, she would have forgot about Peter, and that would have been worse, in my opinion.
I just think the worst one of all this, people forgetting him, is Happy, because that was his connection to Tony Stark, and like Tony Stark treated him like a son and had all this stuff planned out for him, and now did he lose that connection? Like that isn't as close. Like that was like literally one of the last things he said. Who he talked to was Spider-Man talking to Iron Man.
Yeah.
And now no one remembers that, and no one that's a really emotional connection to him. And now, like, how is he gonna get those tools? Like, is he gonna go talk to Happy and then like try to tell him who he is? Or
he still has the
there
suit.
was a line where someone said Nick Fury was off planet for a year. Where's he?
No, it's because the effing Skrulls. Remember that?
So, wait,
disaster.
So this movie takes place during Captain Marvel?
Well, I don't know.
Because he said Nick Fury's been off planet for over a year. So where's he?
No, remember at the end of Spider-Man: Far From Home, I think the end credit scene for that scene, you see him on the freaking.
So that's heading to the next
remember,
Marvel movie.
Well, I think so because the Skrulls were freaking
Yeah.
Nick Fury in that movie. I think.
Wherever he is.
I think.
And
that's
maybe
what it is.
when they said they would reset, no one remembers who Spider-Man is. Nick Fury's not there, so maybe that means he'll remember when he comes back.
That's true.
So they could come in and be like, yeah, this is Spider-Man. He's been fighting with you guys for a long time.
You know what? That's a good point. Yeah, so if Nick Fury wasn't, he could come back and remember.
And Captain Marvel.
No, so that means
Mohawk stuff
so that
come
means
back in.
everyone that wasn't on Earth would remember, right?
Those Guardians would remember.
What was the spell? Was it everyone that? It's just everyone on Earth.
I would think everyone on Earth. I mean,
I feel like it's got to be the universe though, because all those. Here's the thing: the whole reasoning for making everyone forget, I really didn't understand. Maybe if someone can explain that briefly, because there was a bunch of villains coming in for Spider-Man, for these Spider-Mans, making them forget. I think that was a kind of a cop out, just to because the beginning of this movie, everyone knows who Spider-Man is. By the end, no one knows.
But there's also some stuff that you don't even know what's going to happen because when they sent everyone back, is that going to even though they were all saved and corrected, they're still dead in their actual universe when they go back. Are they still dead, or do they get to restart their life better?
No, now they go back. So Doc Ock goes back good.
Yeah, but
Green
he's
Goblin
dead
goes back
though.
good. Well, no, they were alive and they were sent back, and so they were sent back to that moment. So now they'll be good, I assume. Killer G says, "Yo, Happy New Year. Sorry I'm late. Hey, what's going on? No problem. Happy New Year to you too." He said, "In my opinion, Spider-Man: No Way Home is the best Marvel movie yet. It's up there. I mean, it's one of the craziest crossovers.
It's upper tier, in my opinion.
One of the craziest crossovers ever. I never thought I'd see Tobey back on screen in general.
And speaking of
with
Tobey,
the other Spider-Mans fighting, like that's a positive. Like seeing all these Spider-Mans fight together against these villains was epic.
Yeah.
I mean, just
it was a great fight sequence where they have them all swinging next to each other. It was a great scene. And even though they weren't really fighting to kill, they were still fighting together to fight the villains, and they did a great job of showcasing each villain's powers in some ways. But they also did a great comedy line between the three Spider-Mans with Tobey's character not really having any kind of web shooters. It's like, I remember as a kid I always wondered where the webs came out. Like, did it just come from his wrists? And they did a great job of talking about that.
It's kind of confusing though. Wait, so he's the only one that actually shoots the webs?
Remember when he's wearing no suit, it just shoots out of his wrist. You always wonder where it came out from.
Well, but isn't it? It comes out of his wrist though, right?
Well, that's what they were saying. Is I guess there's no
Just what the other Spider-Mans make the webs and they don't actually.
Right, they actually make their own.
I don't understand.
But then Tobey says the same thing happened to him, but it was more of a metal block. Because he was trying to jump and he fell straight over and car.
The with them talking, that's the thing. There are some amazing scenes where they're all talking to each other in serious moments, which is great because they all relate so well.
Yeah.
But then the funny scenes where they're talking is just, I could watch a whole movie of them just talking because it's hilarious. They're talking about their villains, the villains they fought, and Andrew Garfield's talking about how he is so boring because he only fought a rhino and a lizard. And the other, Tobey only fought Doc Ock and all these crazy things.
And then
they did.
The one, that's true. Why'd the rhino villain never come back?
I know, that's one they didn't bring back. There's a few. Vulture didn't come back. I expected him to come back in this movie. He didn't.
True.
He said he was going to be good.
Well, Vulture's still there. He's in jail.
Well, now he's going to forget about him, which just kind of sucks.
Yeah, but
because he was supposed to come back.
His daughter's still MJ, right?
And his daughter is the girl.
Oh, that's right.
Went, so now she's gone.
But I was gonna say one funny scene that I didn't talk about was when they're using Happy's apartment basically, and Happy wants to driving somewhere, and he sees on his security camera the ring footage. I thought they'd be a little bit smarter to get in the house going by their camera, but they all walk perfectly past it. You see a Doc Ock looking at the cameras and walking by all this stuff, and Happy's like, what the heck did I just see? You guys throwing a party on the house right now? I'm asking you. You're oh, it's a great line there. And then where you think he's sleeping and he's not, and he's also gonna put the phone away.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to think of anything else I've forgotten. That was.
I think the biggest.
Funny line. Like you already mentioned the room when they're all seeing each other in that room, crawling in the ceiling and stuff. And,
he cleans the webs. Because honestly, Andrew Garfield, he's in a Hacksaw Ridge movie to be reviewed, and he's flipping amazing. And so he's a great actor. I think growing up as a kid, I loved Tobey Maguire and. This is my Spider-Man.
He's still number one.
Andrew Garfield come in, I kind of had some animosity towards him because he was taking over the Spider-Man. I wanted Tobey to continue. I mean, that's just who I grew up with. But giving him a second chance, he's definitely really good. But the thing is that I was going to talk about, the thing that brings this down to a 9 and not a 10 is the villain thing, because Green Goblin is so flippin' amazing as the villain, and that's the one opportunity where I was thinking, this is the chance, keep him the villain. But the fact that they were still trying to fix him too, I like when there's a villain in a movie. Like there's something about there can be the conflicting villains that are good, like Doc Ock in the Spider-Man 2.
Hella.
Well, I know Hela was a villain, and Thanos was actually kind of the conflicting one too. I know a villain like Hela does not come around very often. Caecilius, there's an Abomination. There's a certain point where I like to see a villain, and there's got to be someone to fight, and there's got to be.
What have you done?
I don't know. There's just got to be like a villain that you're gonna fight, and there's like John Wick. I mean, John Wick does not try to turn that guy that killed his dog good.
Right.
He freaking kills that guy.
Yeah, you almost want to see a scene where Green Goblin's turning around like some party and they're all walking through the view.
Because I don't mind villains going from bad to good to help with the other hero fight the villain or fight the actual villain. I don't mind that at all. And I would have loved to have seen keep some of these villains bad, say there's no fixing them, and get some of them good. How awesome would it have been to see Doc Ock turn good, but then the other ones stay bad? Yeah. I think there was just a little too much. Oh, we'll give him a second, third. That was the thing about the second chances. I'm like, okay, the first chance Green Goblin tried to kill you. The second one he killed Aunt May. The third chance he kills Toby. He tries to kill Toby.
It was cool to see the Captain America shield being installed to the Statue of Liberty. That makes sense in this universe for that to be the case, especially after he died as well.
That was awesome set piece too.
But I think also this movie had the chance to be a little bit over bloated with storylines and characters and just too much stuff. But in my opinion, they did it as perfectly as I think they could have. Yeah. As far as fitting this many characters in and making it giving each character their respect while also focusing on Tom Holland's character, who is obviously this is his third movie of the trilogy. But they did a great job with some emotional stuff, like you said, Aunt May dying, and then also I had no idea because I've never seen the Andrew Garfield Spider-Mans, but his MJ, he basically whoever it was died in that movie, and I guess he didn't save her, and they gave him a chance to save MJ in this one. It makes sense for him to be the character that saves her because he didn't save her in his world. So that was a great kind of character growth for him, and probably a good moment for him as well to be able to save someone when he didn't save her before.
Yeah, he's basically saving the other Spider-Mans. That's Gwen Stacy in that movie. Yeah, that was a really good scene, really emotional scene. I had seen the movie clip on YouTube. I still haven't watched that movie all the way through, but I was luckily able to see that movie clip to understand that scene. Killer G says, who's your favorite villain in Spider-Man No Way Home? That's a tough question because there's a lot of villains. Like you said, they balance it really well between the villains. They really do. There's so many characters and they balance it so well. But when you say Doc Ock, I mean, it's hard not to say Doc Ock because he's so amazing. I mean, and Green Goblin's really good as well. I mean, I could go between Green Goblin and Doc Ock. I mean, I'd probably say, I don't know, Green Goblin is so amazing as a villain in this movie. I'd honestly think I'll say Green Goblin because he's so convincing. There's so many scenes where it's kind of weird how he turns good for a little bit, but then when he turns bad again, I mean, he's trying to get Spider-Man to like lose his mind, like talking to him, like saying, "She's the reason you died." And it makes Spider-Man turn Toby rage mode where he starts freaking punching him in that end scene.
Doc Ock has some great lines when he's trapped in the portal when Doctor Strange he's like, "Who's this?"
Yeah.
Who's he?
Well, I know. Seriously, and the thing is, I think a 9 is pretty reasonable because the other movie I think about this year is Suicide Squad. I'm thinking about top 5 for the year. I'm not gonna make the list yet. Yeah. But like Suicide Squad's up there. I think I gave that a 9 because there's some great scenes, and I really do think they're pretty close because there's so many amazing things about this movie. These Spider-Mans being together,
but
all
the endings is what gets messy for both of them. If they stick to endings, those could easily both those movies could be 10s, but the endings, we already know Suicide Squad really was going perfect till the end, and then this one didn't get as messy at the end, but it was still a frustrating end when...
I think this was a cleaner end than Suicide Squad, but there's more stuff throughout this movie that kind of... Just the things that I said peed me off, like defeating Doctor Strange, just that thing was a little rough for me, and then the fact that they kept trying to fix these villains instead of just freaking deciding on a villain, and the second, third chance BS thing was a little frustrating, because, I mean... I don't know. I just think Green Goblin, the crap he did, I mean...
And one last negative for me was the fact that Venom does nothing in this movie. I was really expecting to see Venom fight and get some, screen time, and the fact that you never even saw Venom's CGI form once. You only saw what's his name, Tom Hardy
Yeah.
at a bar, and he's just basically talking about being in this world, and then he's gone. So he's literally gone, and he never got a chance to see the Spider-Mans. And I just think with the teaser that they left in Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, they really set that up for a big time FU to the fans, because
there's so much going on in the movie.
Toby was one I wanted. They delivered for Toby, but at the same time, you can't tease things and then not follow through with it, because it's like you tease an end credit scene for an end credit scene. That's it. I mean, they do leave a little thing on the like a quick teaser with his Venom's like black goo like on the bar. So that's leaving the door open for a Venom to be created in this universe. Obviously, I mean, maybe it's the bartender.
So that
whoever
means,
that goes to, there'll be a Venom in MCU now.
Okay, so that means that he was sent there. He was sent to the Tom Holland universe, and then he was sent back.
And then he gets sent back.
So he just spent the whole movie in
that bar, right?
I didn't even think about that.
That's why, because the bartender was trying to explain to him, like, there's Avengers, and they were trying to figure out who's who.
That's okay. So at the end of the Let There Be Carnage, he gets sent there. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I was kind of confused.
Because they're sitting in the bed, and all of a sudden everything like goes like black, and they're like, "What the hell was that?" And then on the TV, they're like wondering what's going on.
I remember that, but I was still a little confused because I didn't think. I don't know.
That was a good line though from Tom Holland's character when he said, "Yeah, I'm part of the Avengers," and then Toby's like, "Oh, that's cool." He's like, "Wait, is that some kind of a band?" He's like,
"What's the event? Yeah, what's an event?"
YouTube, Twitter, what the heck is it?
No,
listen, I'm part of a team that goes.
The banter between the Spider-Mans is probably the best part.
Wait, still you've been in space. I mean,
but the Toby my back line is still my favorite line of the long time. Maybe
the
line delivery on that though, because I've watched YouTube videos and the callbacks like Doc Ock saying the power of the sun, the palm of my hand, like certain lines like that. There's so many of those that they aren't over the top. They're just callbacks, and they really respect the fans about what they wanted to see and what they loved about these Spider-Mans. They really pay respect to each Spider-Man equally, and they acknowledge there is some funny Andrew Garfield. It is funny how they're able to take some jokes about how basically Andrew Garfield is a good Spider-Man, but he's like number 3. They have some jokes about that because basically most people.
Number 1 is Toby.
Number 1 is either Tom Holland or Toby, and then Andrew Garfield's usually number 3 out of the question. But it is funny.
I think just based on the memes, Toby has to be number 1 with all the stuff you see online.
I mean, the way he's able to stare back.
Right. And Toby, if you're watching this, we definitely appreciate just a quick video because we're huge fans. We watched the video of you at the airport.
Raindrops.
Raindrops. The airport video. The car where you can't.
Just know if you ever see in public, we won't film.
We will not block your car. I can tell you that right now.
We're talking about a meme on TikTok.
If we see that, we're actually going to push the people out of the way so you can get out of the parking lot. We'll hook you up.
Yeah, Toby has some really funny memes following after this movie. Yelling at people on the street and staring back at people. Some really funny things, but Toby is still just so amazing in this movie. And the fact, I just really hope there's some things about the end credits scene. I guess the last one thing I was thinking about, Venom. Eddie, when you see Eddie, Venom's talking about the Hulk. He mentions the Hulk. And so mentions the Hulk, or the guy mentions it and he responds. If we get to see the Hulk again, I'll be freaking thrilled because we haven't seen him in a while. Unless he has a freaking sling on his arm. But if we get to see Venom versus Hulk, that's just something else. If we get to see Toby with any of the other Avengers, I mean, that would just be unbelievable. But that's all stuff that's the thing. I guess the last thing is the Doctor Strange movie that is the end, very end credit scene that looks phenomenal. I mean, it really could open the door to a lot of this stuff that's going on. Yeah, it's Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Basically, Doctor Strange's Scarlet Witch is the main.
And those are the 2 most powerful things now, in my opinion.
It's going to be a great combo, and I'm really excited. There's going to be like an evil Doctor Strange and all these different things that really looks good, and that's going to be on the top of my list for most anticipated movies of next year. We'll be doing that soon, and I guess what your final score?
I'll stay at 9. I'll stay at 9. I said 8.5 at the moment, but the more I think about it, I do want to see it again.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely have to give it a 9 out of 10 for Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah, this was a phenomenal movie. There's so many spoilers to talk about. So much going on. If we forgot something, it's not for any particular reason. There's just so much stuff going on. Killer G said, who would win, Spider-Man in his iron suit or Carnage from Let There Be Carnage? I'm assuming you're talking about the one with all the four limbs. That would be tough. I mean, Carnage has a lot of weaknesses. I mean, he kind of. I thought he was getting more overpowered than he was, but he still has the same weaknesses of and fire and the weird noise. So honestly, with a suit, I'd probably have to go with Spider-Man.
Yeah. Wait, what's on? Don't you know that there's more important things in life than just yourself? Oh, what? You?
Yeah, Doctor Strange on. But
anyways, it was definitely a good movie. Anything else you want to say before I close it up?
I mean, no, I'll just say this was a really good movie. Really glad to see Toby back in the universe. This opens up the door for a lot of stuff. There's still some other. I mean, this is probably as crazy of a the only thing crazier crossover than this would be seeing Marvel and DC or Godzilla and Pacific Rim. This is one of the. This is that level of crossover. This is really that level of crossover. I mean, Tom Holland
to actually do it.
Yeah, like seeing this crossover is really crazy, but the only thing crazier would be Godzilla and Pacific Rim or Marvel and DC. Seeing Ben Affleck get his back cracked by friggin' the Hulk or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching this spoilers discussion. There was a lot of spoilers. Hopefully we didn't miss anything.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys had a really good Christmas and New Year's time. Still some time this weekend to relax and enjoy it. But anyways, thanks for watching our spoiler discussion for Spider-Man No Way Home. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it yet. And if not, let us know your score in the comments section below once this is posted.
We will be having our top 5 movies of this year
Yep.
and top 5 most anticipated coming out soon.
And probably top 3 worst movies of the year too.
You
probably
and
know.
top 5
You
worst.
probably already know what my number 1 for worst of the year will be.
I think we can make it top 5 worst, right?
Possibly. I already have my number 1 locked in.
Yeah, number 1 and 2 is locked in and loaded.
It has to do with a certain candy.
And yeah. All right.
Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video or live stream. See you guys.